How can we help children understand and remember what they read? Well, today I'm using the book Inky the Octopus by Erin Guendelsberger. It's illustrated by David Leonard. And I'm going to show you a simple way to practice sequencing and retelling during a read aloud. And there's something interesting about this book. Inky was a real octopus. So, before we start, let's look at the cover. We know from the title that our main character is an octopus named Inky. So, before I read anything, I might ask, where do you think Inky is? What do you notice about the picture? What do you think might happen in the story? Remember, predictions aren't random guesses. We're using clues from the title and the illustration to think about what might happen. And today we're going to pay attention to the order in which things happen. This is called sequencing, but your child doesn't need to remember that word. We're simply helping them think what happened first, what happened next, and what happened after that. As I read, I'll occasionally stop and talk about an important event. And I don't need to stop on every page. I just want my child to enjoy the story while also noticing big things that happen. When something happens that's important, I might say, "Oh, I think we're going to want to remember that. That seems like an important part of Inky's adventure." So let's turn to a page. So if I'm reading the story, if I start on this page, I would say, "Here I go to the top of the tank. I slide one arm outside. The air in the room feels dry and cool. The space feels free and wide. I lift through arms 2, 3, and 4. Next, 5, 6, 7, 8. My head is last, and then I'm sliding down the tank's glass plate." So as I'm reading this, I might say, what did Inky do first? So he got to the top of the tank and slid one arm out. Then what happened next? Well, then he slid his other arms out. So this models for children that good readers think about which events are important to the story. At an exciting point in the story, I might pause and ask, what do you think Inky will do next? So in this case, once Inky is sliding down the glass, I would ask, where is he going? What do you think is going to happen? I might follow up with, what makes you think that? And then let my child explain their thinking. And remember, it's okay if the prediction turns out to be wrong. We're encouraging children to think about the story and use the clues. After we finish, I could ask, can you tell me about Inky's adventure? If your child needs some help, you could use 3 simple prompts. What happened first? You could even turn in the book to the pages. What happened next? How did the story end? You don't need a perfect retelling. Remember, we're helping children practice remembering the important events and putting them in order. For younger children, you could make this even more fun. Draw 3 simple pictures together showing the beginning, the middle, and end of Inky's adventure. You could mix them up and ask, can you put Inky's adventure back in order? Now you're practicing comprehension without making it feel like a worksheet. Here's something else I love about this book. After enjoying the story, tell your child that Inky was actually a real octopus who escaped from an aquarium and made his way to the ocean. The author imagined what Inky's adventure might have been like. This gives us another great conversation. So you might ask, which parts of the story tell us something that really happened? Which parts do you think the author imagined? Then explore the information about the real Inky and octopuses included at the end of the book. You're beginning to help your child understand that books can tell stories and give us information about the real world. If your child becomes fascinated with Inky, don't stop with this book. Visit the library and find a nonfiction book about octopuses. You can learn, how many arms does an octopus have? How does it protect itself? Where does it live? What makes an octopus such an amazing escape artist? Following a child's curiosity from one book to another is a wonderful way to encourage reading. If you remember one thing, it's this: asking children to think about what happens first, next, and last helps them understand and remember what they hear and read. When a story sparks curiosity about something, like Inky the Octopus, follow that curiosity. One good book can lead to another. If you have a literacy question or a book that you'd like me to use in a future lesson, feel free to share it. I'd love to hear from you.